All right, so today I'm going to be looking at Morton Feldman's Nature Pieces for piano, which he wrote in 1951. Of all of his piano pieces that I know of from the early 1950s, this is the most interesting title. Um, and I like the presentation of it on the first page. I don't know if that's what his manuscript looked like. I imagine so. He asks for the performer to play as soft as possible, which is kind of interesting for a piece so early in his output. Um, One interesting thing about this piece is it's very fast. Each measure is 92, right? And it's all kind of like quarter notes, which reminds me of another composer we've looked at on the channel, Galina Ostvolskaya, who was also doing like her mature style was starting around this time, oddly enough. Um, there's also multi-measure rests that happen because it's going at such a clip. Yeah, lots of them. In the first piece. Then the second piece is much slower. Quarter equals 92. We have a lot of sustained chords. Piece number 3, we're back to the really fast stuff. This time in 5/8 instead of 5/4. And then piece 4 looks like it's slower again and shorter. It's also in 3/8. Kind of interesting. And then piece 5 is also very different looking. It's got these huge clustery chords, alternating hands, and super high pitches. It might just be a repeating pitch that's very high. So yeah, these pieces look very contrasting and dynamic, something that I'm not used to seeing in Feldman's work. And they make interesting use of like conventional music notation. That's not something unique to this piece. Feldman does that a lot. He always does weird things. Like this piece, for example, the fifth one starts with 3 measures of rest, and then you just have this giant thing that's repeated twice. So I'm expecting, yeah, weird things like that that pose challenges to the performer. Like you have to think about what you actually want to convey. Um, yeah, maybe there is some background on these. Yeah, I'm not finding too much about this. So I think it might just be better to jump into them. Yeah. Link to the recording I'm listening to is going to be in the video description as always. And I'm not even sure how long these are. Okay, it's pretty long actually. It's like 15 minutes of music. So yeah, I may as well just jump into it and I'll let you know my thoughts in a little bit here. I think I may have come across this piece once before on YouTube, but I don't think I've ever listened to them all in a row like this. So yeah, uh, I encourage you to take the same opportunity to just like listen to these and um, like sort of complete our quest to listen to all of Feldman's piano music here. Okay, yeah, so these pieces are really out there and really cool. Um, it's really refreshing to hear just fast music from Morton Feldman because most of his music's slow, and I also like the dynamic contrast you get in the fifth movement and the second movement, for example. Um, yeah, they're all very creative, and a couple things that I just sort of off the top of my head found really inspiring. First of all, the use of multi-measure rests in sections of fast music. Really cool. I've never seen that in a solo instrument score before. Here it's really an elegant notation and it works, and it sort of asks the performer to deal with time and space in a different way. He goes really crazy with it at the end of the first movement, as you can kind of see here. And this sort of ending where he gets fixated on one thing and it kind of loops. It sort of is the way he ends the first movement, second movement, and third movement. So yeah, it does the job, I guess. I would say another thing that was really inspiring was this sort of like five movement form where the first three movements are all very long, and then the last two are almost anecdotal, like little extra ideas. So, like movements four and five are very short and kind of out of nowhere. They hit you, and they're just like this sort of these sort of little palate cleansing, nice things at the end. I would say the fourth movement is my favorite. I think it's a really fascinating piece of Feldman's work. It's like almost all white keys except for a single E flat and a couple B flats. Or no, this is also a B flat. So yeah, so it's pretty much just nine notes of the chromatic scale, whereas the rest of this piece, all of these other pieces are chromatic, obviously, and it just sounds very like tonal all of a sudden, or modal, and it sounds like something that would be really good on harp, almost kind of folkloric, and I think it must be like a minute long or something. It's so short, um, and just really pretty. The fifth movement also is kind of fun. It's unlike anything else in the suite, but it is kind of as chromatic as the first three. And it's very blocky. You can kind of see how it may have been composed in a similar way to the other movements. Overall, I think these pieces really showcase a unique composer voice, and I don't know why they don't get talked about more because, yeah, they are really, really interesting for something from 1951. I think I downloaded all of these off of Scribd, by the way. Like, just some afternoon, I felt compelled to download a bunch of them. Yeah, we still have to listen to his two intermissions from 1950, but I think that's it for Feldman for the series. So, yeah, it's really been a real treat so far. Tomorrow I'm listening to a very short piece, but it's our first piece by French composer Henri Dutilleux. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that composer, and might end up being a longer video depending on how much I dig up from Wikipedia. So yeah, definitely tune into that.